This is Dumbed Down Life number 17.
Which was kind of weird because I was waiting for you to say 16.
Why were you waiting for me to say 16?
I don't know.
Your brain's just not working this week, is it?
I'm telling you, mate, it's work.
Why? How's work stopping your brain? I thought work was supposed to keep the brain going.
Yeah, but by the time work's finished, my brain is completely and utterly fried.
Huh.
Well, there's very few people at work at the minute.
Alright.
So we're doing everybody else's jobs.
So you're being the receptionist, the tea lady and everything?
Essentially, yeah, actually. I've made about 4 cups of coffee today for everybody. Orders get put on twice in our system. That they get put on to the... a job file is created for a job.
Yeah.
That's... Judith puts on the orders, but then they go through to Andrew, who puts them on an Excel spreadsheet called the outstanding orders.
How do you know they're outstanding before you've even finished them? That was outstanding work.
No, you obviously don't work at our place. So then they come over to me and I do my bit. Now, because Andrew's in China, I'm having to put the orders on and do my bit, and then when the orders are dispatched I have to take them off again and readjust the stock levels. And because there's less people at work as well, I'm also having to answer the phones. So all in all, I'm kind of quite busy.
You're getting paid for these other people's work as well?
Nah, my bollocks.
No, I didn't realise that I was sort of... work's draining me a bit until I woke up at 8 o'clock when somebody called me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The idea was I was just going to sort of have a quick sort of 20-minute kip, and then I obviously slept through the alarm and didn't. And when you phoned me, it went, oh, that's the alarm going off. Ah, no, it isn't.
Well, I just thought, seeing as you said 6:30 and it was 8 o'clock, I thought I'd better give you a call. Anyway, so listen to this, if this works.
Yes.
So did you recognise that?
That'll be the hairdryer spaceship that goes the wrong way.
It would. Yes, indeed it would.
I can't remember what it was called, but Blake 7 was the name of the program, obviously.
Yep.
The Liberator was the spacecraft.
It certainly was. You've got a good memory.
With Avon Lady. And that's about all I remember. I don't really remember that much of Blake 7. Go on, tell me, how many series did it run? Are you going to come out with some of these information, or?
Well, not really. I only have two. It's basically it's coming back.
Oh God!
After the success of Doctor Who and the American Battlestar Galactica,
right?
Sky are in talks with the people that have the rights to Blake 7, which is coincidentally called Blake 7 Media.
Right.
And they're in talks with Sky to make a new one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Blake 7 Media, do you think they sort of bought the rights to it when it was at its low, and they thought, we'll buy it now, but in years to come, it'll be worth something.
I guess so, yeah.
Like people have done with the old .com stuff. You know, they bought these domain names and squatted on them. Now that didn't sound right.
That's the porn sites you keep visiting, isn't it?
So they bought Blake 7 Media, and it's like, well, there's a $5 to YouGov. It's like, yeah, but wait. Eventually, they'll be coming back. They'll be wanting to do the remake, and then you have to come and get to me to get the rights to do it. Yeah.
Well, given that it's been 27 years since it was last on the...
Oh goodness. Oh dear.
It finished in
That's what I can't remember.
1981.
Oh, fine. Oh, in that case, yeah, I was probably a little bit too young to understand some of it, because it was a bit more sort of story orientated than flashbang adventure. Really, wasn't it?
It's funny because I can remember it quite well, and I'm surprised you can't because you're a couple of years older than me.
Just a couple.
It is only a couple, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it wasn't very action adventure. I think it was more sort of story based.
Yes, it
and
was.
If you didn't follow the story, then I guess you didn't remember it.
I think it was a bit sort of probably more in line with Star Trek: The Next Generation than the original Star Trek. In that you're not following
there
this.
was a philosophy and a deeper meaning.
Well, not so much that, but it was very much, it had an over series story arc, which The Next Generation did. Whereas the original Trek was each individual episode had pretty much no relation to any other episode previous or in the future. And I think Blake 7 were much more. The stories did sort of carry through. There was an underlying subplot sort of thing.
Callie, that was one of the characters.
Callie,
wasn't it?
yeah, there was Callie, Avon,
Callie through. Sorry,
Blake. I can't. Villa was the coward guy, wasn't it?
Guy, yeah.
Slave.
Big guy.
No, the computer.
Aurak,
that was it.
Where did I
get Slave from?
Slave was the name of Boba Fett's ship from Star Wars.
Well, yeah.
Aurak was the name of my computer when Microsoft networking first started. Aurak. And it actually had, as you started up Windows, it was going,
oh good God!
Because it had like a canine voice, didn't it?
Kind of, yeah, a sort of robotic monotone kind of, canine.
It's all coming back now because the ship computer was a big
glowing ball
huge,
thing, wasn't
glowing ball screen sort of thing on the side of the wall, which I seem to remember had a bit of a Marvin attitude.
Don't talk to me about
yes, we're going to
life.
crash into the planet. Yeah. I could have told you this ages ago if you'd only asked me.
Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and you asked me to go and park a car.
Call that job satisfaction?
Because I don't.
I don't.
But yes, it's coming back. So hopefully they'll do. I haven't seen any of the new Battlestar Galacticas, but I know you have, and I hear good things about it. That it is quite good.
Yes, it's quite good.
Still can't get my head around Starbuck being a girl.
The ties to the original series are quite good, and that they've pretty much rewritten a lot of the stories, but they've still got key elements to them. Again, even with Battlestar Galactica, I don't really remember the original series. I think that was even earlier than Blake 7, wasn't it? That must have been 77, 78, something
78.
like that.
I think it was something the BBC or whoever produced it cobbled together on the back of Star Wars. Suddenly everybody needed a sci-fi series on telly.
Sorry, you're talking now about Blake 7?
Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah, I'm talking about Blake 7. Sorry, you're talking about Battlestar Galactica, aren't you?
Battlestar Galactica would have been 77, 78.
Yes.
Blake 7 was 81.
No, it finished in 81. It started in 78.
Oh, it finished in 81. Oh, okay.
So 78, you see, was the year after Star Wars, and that was pretty much when a lot of TV sci-fi came out again, wasn't it? Because suddenly sci-fi was cool.
So I wonder when Battlestar Galactica started.
Well, I'll apologise if the
Must have
feed
been
goes...
after the A-Team. Must have been after the A-Team, wasn't it?
What, Battlestar Galactica? No. It was
No?
before the A-Team, because if you remember the credits of the intro to the A-Team, a
It had the
Cylon walks
in
by
it. Yes.
and Face sort of puts his fingers up as if to say, don't I know you?
The A-Team would have been around...
That was
early
mid-80s.
80s.
That was 83, 84, something like that.
So Battlestar Galactica would have been, still in the same sort of time frame, 80, 81, that sort of time.
Yeah.
And of course, at that time, I was sat in front of my telly with my computer plugged into it, so I wouldn't have been.
As would I have been, but I do remember watching Blake 7. I'm sure it was on a Saturday night. I think it was on the times
The 7
when
o'clock
Doctor
slot.
Who wasn't.
That's it. Yep, the 7 o'clock slot, or 6 or 7 o'clock slot on a Saturday that Doctor Who fills now.
Sorry, I'm typing as well as listening.
Was that typing
I've
something
done it
into
again.
Google?
I've done it again.
What have you done?
I keep typing Battlefield when I want to be typing Battlestar
Battlestar. Yes.
Galactica. Battlestar Galactica, 1978.
78. So yeah.
That started around the same time as Blake 7 did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both a year after Star Wars. Yeah, no, I was just thinking, because I can't remember much of Battlefield. Oh, for Christ's sake. Battlestar Galactica. The only thing I can remember the odd episode with Starbuck in it. They did a TV movie where Starbuck ended up being left on a planet to die for some reason.
That's what I was going to say. That was the jump the shark moment, I think, when he was left on a planet to die, and his girlfriend stroke wife had a child, and that child was then to lead everyone to Earth, and it's like,
oh,
what?
I never realised the really intelligent kid. That Starbuck,
which must
that
have been
Starbuck's
the
son.
last. I don't know about being Starbuck's son or something, but it was. That's where it sort of went a bit weird.
And then I do remember they did another TV movie, didn't they, when they did actually get to Earth. But it wasn't Starbuck and somebody else. It was another blonde guy and another black-haired guy, and they had the flying motorcycles.
Oh dear.
And Wolfman Jack, the DJ, was on it as well.
I seem to remember that. It's coming back vaguely.
Yeah, they're about the only things I can remember from Battlestar Galactica.
The Cylons were absolutely fantastic. I really liked the Cylons.
They were like Cybermen on steroids, weren't they?
Well, they were what Cybermen should have been. I mean, they're a bit more scary than Cybermen, I think.
And of course, the inspiration for Kit.
Sorry, yeah.
Just to throw another TV show in there. The little cycling scanner thing for their eyes, that's pretty much what Kit has on the front of his car, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can't see this, but I'm sitting here madly waving my finger backwards and forwards in the the Knight Rider swoopy thing.
Because, of course, even Knight Rider was redone in the States, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's out.
A couple of months back.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen some of those, because the car looked fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a big Mustang or something, wasn't it?
Bit torn.
Called up the plumber to fix the toilet. Water all over the place. So when you going to get here? They goes, whenever. Banging on the wall, loving thy neighbour, screaming, when are you going to finish putting up them shelves and get another hobby? They're like, whenever. Giving it some transport strategy. I'm like, when's the next 88 to Clapham, Ken? He goes, whenever. And this is my United Kingdom of whenever. This is my United Kingdom of whenever. This is my United Kingdom of whenever. 2 in the morning, up watching the snooker, called the BBC, said, yo, when's the bloody X-Files going to be on there? Like, whenever. Christmas Eve, I'm wandering around Tesco's looking looking for the hot dogs. Ask this kid, when are you going to stop picking your nose and stock up? He's like, whenever. Then Joe comes round with an idea. I'm like, I suppose you want credit for that. He's like, yeah, of course I will, dick brain. So this is our United Kingdom of whenever. So this is our United Kingdom of whenever.
Right, so going back to one of the stories that we did last week, the movies, when we were talking about the stupidity of the extra strapline, the extra warnings.
Oh, that was right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I thought they were stupid, and you didn't. Well,
Yeah.
it would seem that I'm in a minority here.
Aren't you always?
Apparently so.
Hi guys, this is Dave from the Bugcast. Just wanted to drop you a message and say thanks for a great show. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. Just commenting on last week's episode, Lance's segment about movie ratings, and I have to say I do actually agree with Darren. I think the concept of putting the reason that a movie has been given a certain rating does make a lot of sense, because as Darren said, there might be a film that is rated 18 for scenes of nudity. It might be because of language, it might be because of purely psychological reasons, that you watch it and then think, okay, maybe that shouldn't have been an 18 at all, but somebody under the age of 18 might not have appreciated the film because of its psychological aspect. Then from the excuse me, episode 15, Lance mentioned about Venezuela dropping The Simpsons from the television schedules, and I found it extremely amusing that at the weekend we watched an episode of Futurama, which I think was on at 1:30 in the afternoon. And if The Simpsons is to be identified as not suitable for family viewing, then I haven't got a clue what they would say about Futurama, which is far more adult orientated than The Simpsons could ever be. Anyway, well done on a fantastic show, as always. Look forward to the next one. Take care, guys.
Now that's interesting, because which Futurama was it that you watched? Because he sounded like he was quite disgusted by it.
I don't know. But
No, I
yeah,
know
so
that-
it seems like nobody agrees with me.
Well, we've got to have somebody we can argue against.
Yeah, but why is
Put
it
the
always
contrary
me?
view. Yeah, Futurama. There's quite a lot of innuendo in Futurama, which so I think The Simpsons is worse than Futurama. Futurama seems to have a lot of innuendo in it, and it's a lot of humour that
I think
kids
it's
might not see.
I think it's more subtle.
Yeah, whereas The Simpsons to me can be sometimes quite crass.
I think Futurama's a bit more in line with, say, the Pixar movies, where the jokes or the comments can be taken as just as a comment that a kid wouldn't understand, but an
Yeah.
adult would find a completely different sense of humour from what was being said.
And it was possibly the fact that it was subtle was why Futurama didn't last as well as The Simpsons did,
Yeah,
because it wasn't funny to kids, and it was a bit too difficult to work out some of the humour, possibly. But yes, thank you very much for the comment, Dave. We're putting a website together, and as I mentioned earlier, I do not like these site under construction websites. So you're not going to get something that's sort of half finished. We're polishing it and getting the thing done before even giving you a sneak preview. But we have come across a section that we need input for. We're going to do a About Us section, which tells you a little about each of the presenters. That'll be myself, Lance, and who's the other guy?
Doug.
Doug, that was it. I just name slips me for a minute. And what what we come up with was the idea of doing 5 questions, and we asked the 5 questions of each of the presenters, and then possibly when we have interviews again in the future, because I really loved the one interview that we've done so far, and I want to do more.
Of course you loved it. You did it.
Well, yeah, but I thought it worked really well.
It did.
But we could then ask the same 5 questions of the people that we interview and put that up on there as a profile for them as well.
That's a good idea.
I thought 5 because much beyond 5 becomes a bit of a chore to read through and people aren't going to be interested. But 5 would be like a magic number sort of thing. But we haven't got even one question really, and I wouldn't know what to ask Lance because I've known him so well for so long, and he wouldn't know what to ask me, and so
yeah, but that's just because I'm stupid.
The question goes out to the audience. We need 5 questions to ask and to put information about ourselves up on the website. Again, I appreciate that a lot of you are friends and family and possibly know all you need to know about us, but if
your family don't know anything about me.
That's a good point, yeah.
And my family don't listen to the show anyway, so my friends don't know you.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point.
So there is scope for most of our listeners to get something, or post a question that one of us can give an answer that they don't know the answer. Rearrange that, make a sentence.
It's going to take some fine editing to make a sentence out of that. Yeah. So if you can think of a question that you would like to have us answer, something that we can run with, then if you could send an email to
ddl.podshow@googlemail.com,
and that way we will then make it into part of our About Us page, which will go up on
ddl.podshow.com, I think.
www or...
I don't think
no, we won't, will we?
Well, no, it won't go up on there.
That's our current site. Eventually we will have to create a proper domain, which I think was something you asked me to do, wasn't it?
It was. Have you done it?
Of course not.
No.
When we change the website name will be when the new one goes live. So, yeah, but...
Little hint for you.
Yeah, a bit of a reminder for me. So, yes, if you could send in your questions, we will then use them to help shape the new website. And also, we can use that as an excuse. You know, if we run into production place, we've not had the 5 questions yet. Otherwise, the site's ready to go.
So the longer the site takes to be going live is...
the more perfect it'll be. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and also if it doesn't go live in 6 months, we can just blame the listeners because they haven't sent us the questions.
That's it. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a nice get-out clause.
But and this is the last recording we're going to do. By the way, the website's gone up.
Yeah. Right. So earlier I played My United Kingdom of Whenever, and I got this song from one of the podcasts that I listen to. Remember, I've talked about it before. Remember Traces of Nuts?
Oh right, yes.
If you cast your mind way back to the very first Dumbed Down Life we did, it was just before Christmas.
It was, wasn't
and
it?
the very first song we played, when we decided to start the show, we tasked me with the job of finding the music for the show. And the very first song I played was I'm Not Santa Claus, I've Come. To which you said, okay, you're not picking the music anymore. Now, that was by the comedy troupe Traces of Nuts.
Yep.
And that song came from Traces of Nuts. So I thought it only fitting that we mentioned them a few times is to play this.
Traces of Nuts. Sketches, gags, pointless hand gestures.
It's got words in it, and that Now that we know how to use spreadsheets, we've all had training in spreadsheets, all we need to do is open up the spreadsheets and put in all the figures. Questions?
No, it isn't true. I mean, all I need to do is...
Wrong!
Brace yourself, Daisy!
Can I have some of your pizza? There's a bit of your pizza.
Have you sat on a gherkin that wasn't your
Well, I have
fault?
to say my suspicions were first aroused by the big-boned diplodocus.
You don't have to do the willy thing anymore.
Morphy Richard.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
We need contractions of the sphincter.
No, it isn't.
Ooh, I'll stick a fork in it.
No, it isn't.
You're a freak! Leave me alone!
Traces of nuts. It kind of, mess down your straight.
So, how are you going to finish the sketch, mate?
No idea.
That's a fiver.
I think I have to subscribe to that, won't I?
It is brilliant, mate.
How often do they release a show?
Probably once a month. It's not.
Oh,
It's
okay,
not a very
okay,
frequent
definitely.
one.
Yeah, definitely stick that on. That's good. Because they put a little bit more into the production than I would guess, because it certainly sounds more...
Apparently, a
professional.
couple of them are actually they've like worked with they've worked with Rory Bremner.
Oh, right.
A couple of them are BBC producers and that kind of thing.
Oh.
They are proper media types, and
Yeah.
they had apparently it's been running for a long time. But Podshow snapped them up, gave them a contract and stuff.
Excellent.
So-
Yeah, I shall be subscribing to that myself.
It's well worth a listen, mate, 'cause it's very funny.
This could be a test of disaster, state of the lights burn out. Cause our original movement tradition also keep melting. Everyone's watching and scoring at every move. The feeling it could pay out. It's happened away somehow. And every time it works out, you like to cash out. Tell me there is that reason to keep bullshit on our side. I guess I could be wrong, but the feelings stand strong. If you play your numbers now, you got me thinking about routine and dollar signs. We could all read out the biggest part of what could happen. Siphoned without depth perception. Play your numbers now, you got me thinking about routine and dollar signs. And we're all about the biggest part of what could happen. Siphoned without depth perception. Hope that we are testing and not testing out our love. For all of the hands we hold, we're losing in stamina, so play this scene. Everyone's watching a scripted lullaby. Whatever your heart may feel won't amount to the sex appeal. And every time it works out, you like to cash out. Tell me there is a reason to keep bullshit on our side. I guess I could be wrong, but my feelings stand strong. If you play your numbers now, you've got me thinking about routine and dollar signs. We could all read out the biggest part of what could happen. Siphoned without depth perception. Play your numbers now, you've got me thinking about routine and dollar signs. And we're all about the biggest part of what could happen. Siphoned without depth perception. Shame on grind our teeth at the thought of our competition fading. We'll speak in monologues. Well, I am waiting. I am waiting. This could be a test or disaster, state of the lights burn out. Dreams are original, movement tradition also keep melting. Everyone's watching and scoring at every move. The feeling it could pay out is hammered away somehow. If you play your numbers now, you've got me thinking about routine and dollar signs. We could only have the biggest part of what could happen.
Yeah, this morning found a story, again related to science fiction, that but this itself isn't a story. This isn't new or anything. There's a church that's been set up for Jediism.
Yeah.
And let me just say straight off, I do not like the word Jediism. That's just no, that's horrible. And so the people who have set up the Church of Jediism were on the front lawn of this church, which I think is possibly somebody's house, practicing the Jedi ritual of lightsaber fighting, probably with broom handles, since there aren't actually real things called lightsabers, and some drunkard with a bin liner over his head shouting Darth Vader jumped over the fence and beat them both up.
Oh dear.
Now, the very fact that a drunk can beat up two guys, two Jedi. In fact, I believe they call themselves two Master Jedi. Goes to say that they're not particularly good Jedi, are they?
You see, you're out of it for a little while, and everybody starts getting delusions of grandeur.
Oh. Well, the thing is, on the Jedi Jedi homepage, there's a little thing we can click. I can't go there now because the site's been BBC'd. So the site that's probably sat on some guy's home computer in his garage on his DSL connection normally has a maximum of 4 to 5 viewers.
Well,
has just been brought to its knees, I think.
You see, the thing is, I have the odd bit of Jedi ability myself, because you posted the link to the site on your live channel earlier on in the week.
Yeah.
And I kind of made an assumption that this is going to be Darren's topic for this week.
Well, it wasn't going to be until you said, "Have you got your topics for this week, dude?" And I went, look back at my journal. What have I done this week?
So, yeah, I took the liberty and I've got it open. Probably not the page you want me to open, but I've got it open because, well, I was ready for this show at 6:30.
Well, as you look at that page, I think most of it is just, this is what will be here, this is what will be there, page under construction. So it's not a particularly fantastic page, but it's got a little section up there that says join us.
Yep.
Now, what I'm wondering is whether there is a Sith church. Of course, if there is a Sith church, it can only have 2 members. And the little button will say join us or die.
Thank you for your application for joining the Church of the Sith. Our spaces are full at the moment, but you are now in a waiting list, and when the apprentice becomes the master, you will be contacted. But I did have a look at the site, and they may be training in the Jedi arts, but I'm guessing one of the Jedi arts is not the English language.
Oh dear.
Because they've changed it since I looked at it earlier on in the week, and I made a mental note that should you choose this to be your topic, that I would raise this. So when I opened it up today, I noticed that obviously somebody else had pointed out to them that their English is not particularly good. Now I'll see if I can remember what I spotted. The biggest one was the incorrect use of there.
Oh, there and there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse me a minute. Yeah. The background, right? In 2003, when Master Morda Hehol, head of church, and his yeah, I know, I'm sure he wasn't christened Morda Hehol.
I obviously read it differently when I read it, because I didn't read it as hey-hole. That almost sounds like hey-hole, you know. It's what a hey-hole.
They're Teletubbies.
Jedi Teletubbies.
Yeah, but his apprentice is called Joe Jack Hawee.
Joe Jack Hawee, Joe Jack Hawee, Joe Jack Hawee.
So, yeah, after years of training, Morda trained his brother, John Hell, up to be a Jedi Master, and the two started a ministries. A ministries. Which has now been changed to ministry, And there's a couple of instances of well, it's just bad grammar really. There's no commas in there.
Yeah. It just sort of made me laugh.
Using some teachings that are available from other UK Jedi churches and writing their THERE own The Church grew and decided to make an online chapter UK Church of the Jedi. Now there's a comma in there somewhere and they've not put it in there. So yeah, they may be able to push things with their mind, but they can't write English.
Or defeat a drunken.
Darth Vader. Yeah.
No, it's not even a drunken Darth Vader. It's just a drunken with a bin line over his head.
So he'd be the man where impressive, most impressive. Oh dear.
I'm your father. Dad, go away.
Yeah, so I'm not a church I'm thinking of joining anytime soon.
No, well, they're trying to link themselves with this whole movement of putting Jedi on your census form as a religion.
But wasn't this like... this was happening when I used to work with you. And I stopped working with you about 2002, 2003. So it's got to be 6 years old.
I put Jedi on my census.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. But you won't get me wearing the brown robes and going to the church every Friday or Saturday or Sunday or whenever it is going to be, and sort of, because really it's not a proper religion, is it? Let's face it.
But they've got one holy day, haven't they? It's coming up in a couple of weeks.
See, we recorded this show too early, haven't we?
Yeah.
With Pete.
We should have done it on May the 4th.
Okay, you got the punchline.
I did. I'm sorry.
May the 4th be with you.
I can't believe he didn't release any of his bloody films on May the 4th.
No. Didn't release any of the days on May the 4th. I mean, the StarWars.com website normally makes a little something special of it. The old Star Wars Galaxies online role-playing game used to make something of it.
Yeah. You would have thought Revenge of the Sith, it should have come out on May the 4th, because it was going to be the last one, wasn't it?
But there's something about release dates and so forth with films that there's a sweet spot, and if it's nowhere near May the 4th, then they're not going to do it. But so yeah, the other sort of Star Warsy stuff. Have you seen anything of the Clone Wars stuff yet?
Only some sort of 30-second trailers, yeah.
Oh, I hate Mr. Lucas. There's me thinking, great, the 6 films are done. That's it, we're finished. I can stop being a geek. And
no.
This looks awesome.
It does, doesn't it?
Obviously, because all the vehicles and the clone troopers and everything were done in CGI in the films anyway, a lot of the battle scenes that are in this new cartoon are very little. There's very little difference between these and the films.
I mean, to be fair, they're going to have all the modelling and everything already done, aren't they? Other than
yes and no. They're actually slightly sort of manga styled. So they've again, this is now between episodes 2 and 3. Is it between 2 and 3? Yeah, it's between 2 and 3.
The Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, yeah?
Yeah, so they are changing. They're changing the style of the clone troopers ever so slightly to like fill a gap between the way they looked in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So you got things like the shock troopers and all the different flavours of clone trooper that certainly appear in a lot of the expanded universe, but you never get to see in the film, or you only get to see hints of in the films.
So is this cartoon the sort of infiller between 2 and 3, and the same way as the Clone Wars 2D cartoon was the infill for 1 and 2?
Yes.
That's essentially what they've done, but they've moved it onto 3D.
Yeah, they've moved it onto full 3D computer rendered It's very similar style to the was it Samurai Jack? I think it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, but it's three-dimensional.
And they're going to be longer, aren't they? Because I think weren't the original ones sort of 2 or 3 minute jobs?
The original ones were 2 or 3 minutes. That I think they were primarily designed for the internet, and of course the internet at the time was probably half the speed that it is now. You wouldn't have been watching a full program on the internet when the films originally came out.
No.
But now most people have got sort of at least a 2 megabit connection and can watch a full-sized program in HD. So this,
which I do
think
regularly.
again, I think what they're going to do again is show it on Hyperspace, which is the Star Wars website fan club. And as I'm looking at the page here, it's screaming at me now, only $14.95.
What's that? A month or a year or?
That's a good point. Yeah. So if that's a month, they can stick that. But if that's for a year,
then it's worthwhile.
Absolutely. I'll have to have a look through this in a little bit more detail to find out what the schedule is for the series and how much it's going to cost. But yeah, that's very interesting. Because I still get the newsletter, because they send out a newsletter for free, and 9 out of 10 of the articles are all, read at your leisure, and then the 10th one is, if you were to join the Hyperspace fan club, you could read this interesting looking 10th article. It's like, oh dear. Yes, the after film marketing was always what I think that was one of the big things that Lucas started, really.
Definitely. Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Use the Schwartz. Because, well, it was funny enough, it was the merchandising of the Muppet Star Wars characters was what caught my eye in the first place. The tiny little figures. Back in the 80s, when the Star Wars crew were doing the tours of all the popular television, the Muppets was, of course, one of the most popular television shows at the time. So they had Mark Hamill, Peter Mayhew and Anthony Daniels on the Muppets. Consequently, all of the regular Muppet features had a Star Wars twist to them. And they had Pigs in Space with Chewbacca and C-3PO and Luke Skywalker. And what they're releasing this year is a little set of characters of like Fozzie Bear dressed up as Chewbacca, Miss Piggy dressed up as Princess Leia, Beaker dressed up as C-3PO, which is fantastic. I love that one. Rizzo the Rat as Yoda, and I've forgotten his name. Who's the one with the Gonzo? That's it. Gonzo as Darth Vader. These characters look fantastic. But unfortunately, the only place you're going to be able to get them is at was it Disney parks? So like Disney World and Disneyland is the only place you'll be able to get them.
Would that mean Disneyland Paris?
Ooh, possibly. It doesn't specifically say American, but
yeah, if it's Disney parks, well, that's a Disney park, isn't it?
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Not that it makes any difference to me because I don't have a passport, so I can't get one from either of the places.
Well, they also had a Muppet magazine, and they got all the storylines with the characters dressed up in the various Star Wars suits, and that's looks really cute.
Excellent. Right, is that it? We're done.
I don't think I've been done enough, to be honest.
I haven't been done recently.
Neither have I. But that's a different story.
Moving on.
So until this time next week, or some other time next week, you've been listening to me, Darren.
And me, Lance.
On Dumbed Down Life. Thank you very much.